Hey guys, welcome back to Thrive. I'm Ruth, I'm your host, and I'm a transformational life and wellness coach. And today we're going to be delving into dating after divorce, the do's and the don'ts, the red and green flags to look out for on your first date, how to get ready for your first date, and how to return to love by just showing up authentically as yourself. So, if you're newly single, a little nervous to get back onto the dating scene, and wondering if you're ready, then this video is definitely for you. So, let's get into it, guys. Dating after divorce can be really overwhelming. It can be daunting. You've just come out of a marriage or a relationship, and you're kind of trying to get back into yourself. So, the first thing I would do is, or recommend, to do after your divorce is to get back in touch with yourself. For the longest time during your marriage, you were a part of a unit. So there were two people involved, and you kind of, after divorce, need to review who you are. So look at your identity outside of your former relationship. And this is your starting point of getting to know yourself again, because after a relationship or a marriage, your views on relationships in general could change. And so sitting with yourself, asking yourself questions like, what is a healthy relationship and what does that look like now after I've had the divorce is really important in rediscovering who you are as a person. So get clear on your values and your needs before you download that app or before you say yes to that date. Ask yourself questions like, what kind of connection do I want? What are my non-negotiables? What behaviors make me feel safe and seen and heard and valued? So taking time to reconnect with yourself after divorce or after a breakup is really important before getting back onto the dating scene. Now, the next part, I'm going to be talking about the don'ts and the do's of dating after divorce. So let's get into the don'ts first. So, like I mentioned before, you want to heal after a relationship is broken up or after divorce. And if your wounds are still raw, dating can feel like another rejection waiting to happen. It's really important that you take time to heal. Wait until you feel curious about love again, not desperate for it. So make sure that you take time to heal and don't date just to distract you from your healing. Do the healing work first. Be in a really good, confident, empowered place before you say yes to that date. The second don't I want to share with you is don't compare your new person that you're dating to your ex. And this is really important. And I see this with a lot of my clients because every connection stands on its own. If you're constantly measuring someone against your past, then you're not fully present. So remember, try not to compare this new person to anybody from your past. And the next tip I want to share, and this is a big don't, is don't ignore your gut or your intuition or your guidance system. That little voice inside of you, the one that tightens when something feels off, trust it and listen to it. Your intuition is your built-in GPS, and it will immediately tell you if something doesn't feel quite aligned, and trust that and go with that. And the last don't I want to share with you is don't overthink every message. So once you've been on that first date, or once you've been out there on a dating app, for example, if you're obsessively over-analyzing texts or messages, then it might be a sign that you're not yet in the right place to receive a connection. So remember, guys, love brings clarity, not confusion. So if your mind is racing, maybe take a moment to just step back and take some time. So now we're going to be talking about getting ready for your first date. All right. So the first date is set. Now what? So here's a couple of tips to ground yourself beforehand. And this is really important, guys, getting into your own heart space coming from a place of clarity before meeting someone new is really, really important. So first of all, you want to set an intention. So instead of saying things like, oh, I hope they're going to like me, set an intention and say, I'm curious to see if we align. Say something along those lines. It doesn't have to be the exact same thing, but set an intention. And the second tip I want to share is to dress as your higher self. So this doesn't have to be the trendiest or the sexiest version or fashion trends. No, it is just dressing up as your most authentic self, what makes you feel radiant, grounded, and confident. So wear those big earrings or something that you love and smell good and show up as your most confident self. And then my third tip I want to share in getting ready for your first date is take a moment to breathe. So literally take 3 deep breaths. So in through the nose, out through the mouth, and really feel those breaths before you step into that restaurant or coffee shop, because this will help regulate your nervous system and help you stay present in the moment. And the last tip I want to share in getting ready for your first date is avoid any sort of scripting or rehearsing. The best conversations I've ever had is just heart-led. The ones that aren't planned, not scripted. So show up as your authentic self with curiosity, openness, and just let the magic flow, guys. So now I want to get into what to look out for on the first dates. So we're going to start with some red flags and then go into the green flags. And let's look at what to look out for on that first date. So some of the red flags that I've seen and some of my clients experienced is your date rushes intimacy. So this can either be on an emotional level or a physical level. This might be questions like, so where do you want to be in terms of a relationship within 3 months? That is totally rushed. And I would feel so uncomfortable if someone asked me. Or if they're being overly touchy on the first date and you're not comfortable with that, that's also rushing intimacy. And gently let them down by saying, I'm not comfortable with that. Can you please keep your hands to yourself in a very nice way? Let them down. The second thing or second red flag is this person speaks really poorly about their exes. And this is a big red flag, and I'll tell you why. Understanding that relationship was once beautiful. It was your life choice, one of your life choices. And so when we speak poorly of a past experience, it means that we've not grown or learned anything from it. So it shows that this person has either low emotional intelligence, or they're still bitter about that. So that's a big red flag right there if they speak bitterly about their exes. The next red flag is that this person, they will avoid emotional conversations. So if you ask them something like, well, what does true love mean to you? Or what is kindness? Or what is compassion? And they say something like, I don't really feel like talking about that. If they avoid any sort of conversation where emotions are involved, that's a big red flag. Because if they can't talk about the basics, then how are they going to show up for you emotionally? So think about that one, guys. The next red flag, and I see this with a lot of my clients, is that they have dates where people dismiss their feelings or their boundaries. So, for example, someone could say something like, oh, I really love doing charity work. And they'll be like, why do you want to do that? That's so lame. That's dismissing your feelings or your passions. Or dismissing a boundary could also look like, I'm not comfortable with you texting me after 8 p.m. Could you please not do that? And this person just totally ignores it and does it anyway. So that's a big red flag if they are dismissive of your feelings or your boundaries. And the last red flag that I want to leave you with is the biggest one for me. And this is what I see clients ask me about this all the time. If you leave the date feeling confused or emotionally drained, that's a big red flag, because people that are good for you will leave you feeling energized and yes, I want to see that person again. But if the opposite happens, that is a big red flag. Okay, guys, so now we're going to look into green flags and what that looks like. So when someone asks you thoughtful questions and they actually listen, that's a big green flag. So when they want to know about you and you get that feeling they are genuinely interested, that's a big green flag. The next green flag is that this person is consistent in communication. So there's no games, there's no ulterior motives. What they say, you can count on their word. So they're consistent with their communication. They say, I'm going to call you tonight at 7 p.m. They're right on time. If they're not able to meet that time, they'll let you know. They'll send you a text and I'm sorry, I'm running late. So no games, just being 100% honest in their communication. That's a great green flag. And the next green flag is someone who speaks respectfully about past relationships. So the opposite of the red flag that we had. Someone who still remembers what happened, who honors that, and who's honored the journey that they've had with their previous partner. That is a massive green flag. So they can identify things maybe didn't work out, or life takes its turn, but there were beautiful moments that we did share. So if they say something along those lines, instead of being bitter about their ex, that is a great green flag. And then the last green flag that I want to share is that they are clear about their intentions. So someone that is open and honest and authentic will say things like, I'm really looking for a stable connection, someone that I can connect with. So they're open about their intentions. They won't leave you hanging. Well, I don't really know. We'll just see where this goes. Wishy-washy. We don't want that kind of energy. If this person is clear about their intentions, they make you feel safe, seen, and energized after spending time with them because you know what they're about and they are clear about the intentions. So here is a quick tip. After your date, check in with yourself. Ask yourself things like, did I feel like I could be myself? Was I 100% authentic? Was there mutual interests? Do we have shared values? Make a note of these things, guys, before they kind of get out of your head. And the last tip I want to share with you is ask yourself the question, do I want to see them again? Not out of a fear of being alone, but just genuinely, do I want to see this person? Do I want to give my energy and time to this person? So that's it, guys. I hope this resonated. As we all know, dating after divorce or any other relationship, it doesn't have to be scary. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real and showing up as yourself. And remember, after every ending, there's a new beginning. So you are constantly in a state of becoming and you are starting over wiser. The kind that nourishes and uplifts, it begins within and within yourself. So if today's episode resonated, I'd love for you to share this with a friend, and don't forget to download your first date prep guide at www.thrive.co.nz, and that's Thrive with a Y. So I'm going to leave that link below, and until next time, take a deep breath, stand in your worth, and walk into love on your terms.